Oh, just a second.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the FPL Banger Show. My name is Siva. I'm joined by Sam. Game Week 30 preview, Sam. We obviously went away for a while on the back of a very decent green arrow, Sam, if I must say so myself.
For you.
You know, my green arrows are your green arrows, Sam.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Happy
But-
for you, Siva.
Thank you. Took a -8, got a green arrow, but Game Week 29 is basically like a lifetime ago because if you've been paying attention, right, over the last 2 days, it's all gone to shit, right? Because the double game weeks have not fallen the way we hoped they would, and to put it mildly, if you don't have chips, you're kind of screwed. If you do have chips, I think you're still kind of screwed. We've got the fixtures on the screen right now.
Educate
And-
me, Siva, because I have actually not been up to date this past. I took a mental health break from FPL and FPL Twitter, so I have no idea what's happening.
I will need a mental health break after this game week is over, to be honest with you. What we did know coming into this week already was the doubles in 32. So that hasn't changed, right? Palace and Newcastle. What we now know, and this is obviously you'll see the screenshot, you should be familiar, it's from Ben Krellin. Palace should have a double. So double in 32, double in 33 against Bournemouth, Arsenal. Man City have a double in 33. These are predicted but likely doubles. Everton and Villa for Man City. Villa have Newcastle, Man City. Arsenal have Ipswich Palace. So a couple of issues now is that you can see there are 4 blanks in game week 34, which are almost guaranteed, which is the Villa, Arsenal, City, and Palace. So the teams are double, then immediately blank. And that is likely to repeat itself in 36. And the reason we say 36 is because this is to do with the outcome of the FA Cup semi-finals. So Palace play Villa in one semi-final, City play Forest in the other semi. The winners of that, they should have a double in 36 because they can't play in 37, which is when the FA Cup final takes place. So it could be, yeah, that is about as simple as I can make it. So the problem with this is in both doubles, you'll see, right? If you go all in on a double, you almost certainly need like a free hit or 5 free transfers to fix the next game week, right? Because if you got all the doublers in 33, then they all blank in 34. You probably need a free hit to fix that. Same thing happens in 36, then you jump into 37. So there's a balancing act here. You can't commit fully to a double. And then when you look at these fixtures as well, and let's get straight into it, right? So for context, Sam and I have the same chips remaining, which is everything except for assistant manager. I know there are some people who've written to us saying, when do you play assistant manager? So they still have that. We'll come to that, but just try to set the stage, Sam. In terms of the teams that double, now you know that Palace double twice, Newcastle double once still, City double, Villa double, Arsenal double. Let's maybe start off with the least controversial one, which is, I guess, Crystal Palace. Okay, let's try and keep it simple. I think we go team by team first before we get into the chip strategy, because I think one informs the other. Palace pick Sam, because Jean-Philippe Mateta is back. Or is he back?
He's back.
I mean, he's back, Sam, but is he back? You know,
He is back.
Is the man who we saw yesterday, you know, he looks like a shadow of himself.
You mean that way, in that way, like, does the form continue?
It's not just a
We
form,
don't
man.
know.
This is like a
We don't
changed
know.
man, you know.
I mean, he's just
seen,
missing like a bit of his ear or something, right?
yeah, I mean, is he like Gandalf in the Two Towers, or is he
Oh,
or not?
does he
you
come
know?
back as Mateta the White? Is that what
He
you're
looked,
saying?
I mean, he looked very passive and very wise and very stoic. No shots at all in a 3-0 win. And Sudden came off on 70 minutes. His replacement immediately scores, and Ketia scores. Midweek fixture against Southampton. do you need to give Mateta 90 minutes?
That's the thing, though. I think if you were to won a game where they're gonna get back their form, this is gonna be it. Like you've been out. I'm the manager. If I'm the manager, I'm like, okay, I want you to score some goals to get back your confidence after being out injured. Guaranteed goals in this game.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't need to worry about, like, I don't think Oliver Glasner's biggest concern is getting Mateta back into form, right? He probably just wants to get the win here and then focus on the weekend. Because, I mean, you don't know, may not know this, Sam, but Palace and Brighton is considered a derby for some reason, even though if you look on the map, they are nowhere near each other. But I think it's the M23 derby. Or they're like on the same highway or some nonsense. I don't
People
know.
are just
Expressway.
making up rivalries at this point.
No one knows why they hate each other, but they do. Okay, so that's like it's a big fixture for them. And if you're Oliver Glasner, right, we're coming into the business end of the season. We have 8 game weeks in less than 60 days. If you were ever gonna rest or manage minutes, surely this is the game you do that. And
I mean,
with a
I think
guy who's just back.
his minutes will be managed. I don't think he's playing 90 against Southampton.
So
Do you need 90 like you said earlier? Maybe not. And if you were to bring back Mateta, this would be the fixture to do it.
I'm torn, Sam, because I mean,
Here's how you're gonna look at it. Will you get Mateta eventually?
I don't know.
You
Because
you're not with the double 32 and the double 33. You're not gonna bring in Mateta at all.
the thing is, Palace have a lot of good assets, right? You've got Ismail Assar, who's
Okay. This
back in
inform.
form. He's in form. XG is also starting to back it up. Eze is, I mean, no XG to speak of, but is scoring. He's scoring worldies each week. Eze will be on pens when Mateta comes off, right? We know that. And then you've got Daniel Munoz, still very attacking, still okay. Clean sheet potential doesn't look great, but if you think of it as a bonus, I mean, I don't know. Do you need Mateta? Because every wildcard draft I look at has Marmoush. We'll come to City. Um, has Isaac. So it's that third spot. Do you have to have Mateta when you could have somebody else?
Evan Nielsen.
Yeah, Evan Nelson. I mean, I think why Mateta is such a easy pick is because it sounds safe. Nailed, doubles, penalties. And then you look at the alternatives. Evan Nilsson, does he play 90 anyway? João Pedro, same thing. Ollie Watkins, same issue. I mean, there are so few forwards anyway.
Well, I think it really just comes down to which slots you have open in your team, right? So if you're committed to having 3 Palace assets, and one of them needs to be a striker, a forward, because you don't have midfield slots or whatever, then it has to be Mateta. And if you already commit yourself to, I'm going to bring Mateta for these fixtures, even if he doesn't get a full 90 against Southampton, you'll still be okay with it. It's like, okay, you still got a weekend game against Brighton, and then you got 2 doubles coming up back to back. So I think whoever you want to bring in, whichever Palace assets you want to bring in, you got to bring in this week against Southampton. It's like it's the best entry point to a Palace asset.
It strikes me, Sam, the way, and probably I should have cleared this up when we started, it sounds like you have not activated any chip yet. And
I've activated AM.
You've activated? No, I mean, no. What I mean is that you sound like somebody who is not using the wildcard this week. You're just gonna.
Oh, yeah. Probably not, I think. Looking at my team, I'm quite happy with it, honestly.
Oh yeah, you don't have Haaland. Okay, so that's worked
I
out
don't
nicely for
have
you.
Haaland, which I warned you against.
I'm sorry. No. Hold up right there. Okay. I've had enough of this Haaland revisionism. Okay, you people who warned about Haaland didn't predict his injury. Okay, so
Mm.
Okay, so that's a load of shit. Okay, you got lucky. Okay, Haaland even scored. Okay, in this match where he picks up an injury. So let's not.
Well,
Oh, Haaland was a trap or some nonsense like that.
it is a
No, no.
trap because I always knew putting so much money into one asset was a bad idea. Because
Man
what if,
hasn't man hasn't
you
been
know,
injured for almost a year. Okay, so and didn't get injured. Oh, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna.
yeah.
Uh,
Okay, the point is that decide. I think the way to do it is just decide your three Palace assets and then try and bring them in this week. Whether using a wildcard, whether using free transfers, doesn't matter. You got to bring in this week because this is the entry point to do it against Southampton. Number one Palace asset to have is definitely Munoz, in my opinion, who has been like on fire. I don't know when's his last blank. One blank in the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 game weeks. Like just attacking returns, clean sheets, bonus, everything you could ever want in a defender. So Munoz, first choice, right? And then after that, it gets a bit murky, I feel, because Mateta, we're relying a lot on past form, you know. But again, if you were to bring in Mateta, I think this is the way to do it. Just take the risk, bring him in. If it doesn't go well, it's all right. You still have him for the next 5 fixtures in 3 game weeks. Um, if not Mateta, I think Sar, in my opinion, would be the next best Palace asset. I prefer Sar over Eze. He's on form. XG is doing well. Eze, we all know, is it's just a really frustrating player to have, right? Like does well when you don't expect him, and then doesn't do well when you expect him to do well and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll go Sar because explosive, you know.
okay, okay. Mm, so no Dean Henderson, I take it for you.
I want to double up on defense, although I have to say it does look. I mean, they have been good. If you did go handle, earlier on, you would be doing pretty well now. But I don't know, Siva. I feel like one defender is enough.
Okay, I will just say, I mean, something I noticed, right, and this is for the ultra nerds who are chasing imaginary points. But if you're on wildcard this week, and you have Dean Henderson and Emmy Martinez, which sounds like a weird double, but hear me out, right? You get a double in 32 for Henderson, as you can see on the screen. You get a likely double for Emmy Martinez in 33 and for Henderson in 33. So you could bench boost in 33 with two doubling keepers. Let's say you free hit 34, then 36. You're guaranteed to get the double because you have City or Palace. You're getting one, whichever keeper doesn't make it to the FA Cup final. You don't play that. You play the guy who makes it because he gets the double. And then 37, you got a guaranteed keeper because the losing keeper in that semi-final will play in 37. So
It does make sense, but Martinez is just so expensive for all this. So
I
it's
mean, it's a
five.
lot of work for 2 pointers. I know, but
And yeah, Martinez Villa has only kept 3 clean sheets this entire season. Okay, we are all the way in game week 20, 30, right? We're all the way in game week 30. 3 clean sheets. That's not a keeper that you want. 5 mil. Come on, Siva. I'd rather play like save. I'd rather save 1 mil and get a 4.0 non-playing keeper. You end up with about the same point. It's going to be a 1 point difference for you.
harsh. I think you spend 4.2, you get Areola. I think.
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, just so briefly talking about wildcard because you've already made it clear you're not playing wildcard, and I think that makes sense. You are trying to sort of give it some time because we should get confirmed fixtures for 33, maybe in a few days' time, and
Yeah, time. That's it.
yeah,
That's what I was aiming for. And
yeah.
totally not because I just have not planned my move at all. And so has not even considered the possibility of wildcarding.
No, I think there'll be a lot of people like you, right, who haven't looked at this game too closely over the last 2 weeks, which you can understand why. And you've got what you think is maybe 10 decent players and maybe just make a free transfer this week. Even if you've got Haaland, maybe just go to Marmoush and give it another week, reassess, take your time. Don't rush into any hasty decisions. So I've activated Wildcard already. I did that yesterday. Um,
Yeah,
I,
of
I,
course.
I, I'm not hanging about. I see my team. It's got Haaland, it's got Chris Wood, it's got Dango Atara, and I still have Watt Face. This is game week 30, and I still have Watt Face. I don't know why I have Watt Face. So yeah, for me, these people got to go, and I think the decision whether you activate Wildcard has less to do with some brilliant chip strategy you figured out, and more just to do with, does your team look like shit? Then you probably need to Wildcard. Because I will say this is a good week to do it, right? City play Leicester, and now you can say anything you want about Man City. Let's talk about Man City now. Leicester is the worst team. This Leicester under Ruud van Nistelrooy, probably the worst team I've seen in my lifetime in the Premier League. They are on an epic run. They've lost, I think, 13 or last 14. Haven't scored like 7 at home. Did nothing against Man United. Probably saved Ruben Amorim's job. Biggest contribution they've done to United season so far.
Agent Root.
Agent Root. I mean, he's a genius. This is you could pick 3 City players at random. As long as they get onto the field, they will get points.
Just make sure you pick the ones who will be on the field.
I mean, okay, let's talk about Man City. You didn't seem.
So who will be on the field, Siva?
Well, I saw your eyebrows raised just now when I talked about Marmoush. So let's deal with Marmoush.
I mean,
okay?
if Haaland is out, then Marmoush will be the main guy up top, most likely.
Haaland's out.
Yeah,
he's on crutches.
He
He left the Vitality in crutches.
So
they
Marmoush
say leave
will probably play up top, right?
Yeah.
So you
no
want
reason
Marmoush?
not to. I mean, no reason, because Marmoush didn't start, which I assume had something to do with internationals, because he played for Egypt in the doubleheader. So I assume that's why he didn't start. He has been starting fairly regularly since he arrived. He's been in good form. Looks like he's adapting well. But I mean, by Pep standards, this is a very fast transition, I think. You rarely see attackers break in so fast. So, yeah, Marmoush, you've got nothing to lose, and we have no forwards anyway.
Yeah. So Marmoush should be in, all right? And then who are you going to go for, Siva? Are you going to get a defender?
Yeah, I know. The jokes write themselves, right? But it's Leicester. I'm not scared of an attack that is led by Jordan Ayew, Bilal El Konous, Jamie Vardy. Mavdidi doesn't even play these days. I mean, I'm not worried about Leicester. United, I'm not really worried about United. I think Leicester made United look very. I mean, actually, even then, I thought United were pretty crap, but Leicester sort of gave them that game. Yeah, Palace 32 not great, probably conceding there, but you're not getting Gvardiol for the. Well, I was going to say you're not getting Gvardiol for the clean sheet points, but I did notice that in the second half, which is when City finally started to do something against Bournemouth, Gvardiol moved to the center, and Nico O'Reilly, who's this, when you've been playing Football Manager for so long, they just start generating random names. Regens, exactly. Yeah, he's one of those. Came on at left back for Kusanov, who had a yellow card. Looked really good. O'Reilly, I think he set up both goals. Don't know. Gvardiol could end up playing centre back. Do you want to pay 5.9 for a centre back? I don't know, but these are decent fixtures. I think if you were ever going to get a City defender, now's the time.
Wouldn't Kusanov be the best option if you want a centre back?
Yeah, but see, I don't know if Kusanov struggled, right? I think the games that I've seen, he's been inconsistent. I think he's still adapting. And the fact that he was hauled off against Bournemouth because of his yellow could happen again. Whereas Gvardiol at these plays, he's, I think, got the second most minutes after Haaland. So if anyone's going to play, he should play. And
he also scored 5 goals. So he has the third highest goals in the City squad.
Who's second?
Foden. It's very surprisingly. Do you know who has the most assists in the squad?
I know, but you can tell me.
Savinho. Who, it's really frustrating because his minutes are not secured. But he seems to be the best midfield pick actually from City, if he plays. I mean, the fact that he has 10 assists is pretty good. He has the fourth most assists in the league, right? Only behind Salah, Saka, and I'm missing a name. Could be Palmer. But yeah, so in a vacuum, he looks like a good pick. If you don't look at his minutes at all, you're like, yeah, the most assists in the City squad, fourth most assists in the league. Oh no, behind Bruno. Yes. Behind Salah, Saka, and Bruno. Unfortunately, his minutes is not secured, so you can't go for him as much as you would want to.
I mean, I see he's coming up in some wildcard drafts. He's not making it to mine because I don't enjoy that kind of pain. But to be fair, right? So he missed the cup game because apparently his wife gave birth. So I don't know. I don't know. Pep,
Apparently.
Pep, Pep family guy maybe probably wants to sort of congratulate him by giving him an easy goal against Leicester, baby celebration. That all
Maybe.
writes itself. Yeah, could be. And then, I mean, it's between him and Bernardo Silva, I think, for that right wing spot for the most part. Sometimes McAtee can play there, but it should be those two. So you would expect Savio to get reasonable minutes, and it is a double in 33. So worst case, you get what, 60-30? It's
Yeah.
an option. I think the issue is that I can pick 5 midfielders I want more. I think that's the problem.
Yeah. Agreed. So that's it for City, I think, right? That's basically all the viable options. You're not gonna go Foden, you're not gonna go De Bruyne.
It's insane,
it.
right? We have double for Man City, and we can't name more than 2 players.
Yeah.
Can't even say Edison as a joke because Ortega will come in for one of these games.
Like randomly.
Okay, so yeah, that's City. Villa. No, let's do Arsenal. Right? Let's do Arsenal.
Saka's back. That's all you need to know.
Saka's back, and I really want to find the quote because I thought Arteta was very passive aggressive about this. Because you'll see, I mean, me included, all the FPL accounts have selectively posted it. But basically, what he said was, he's done all the things he needed to do. It's now about putting him on the grass in the right moments. He's pushing because he really wants it, and in fact, we have respected the time frame, and we had to even hold him back. This sounds to me like a man who's going to start this guy against Fulham, and is already basically saying, if he gets injured, it's not my fault. He wanted to do it.
Yeah. Sounds very Arteta-esque.
Yeah, like I mean, you don't
Oh,
need to be.
actually, he re-injured himself, but Arteta's just next thing you know, like one day before the match, you find out that actually he aggravated his injury and he will be out another month.
I don't know, because the thing is, if you are wildcarding this week, yes, you could leave a lot of money in the bank, or maybe you can get Cole Palmer as a sort of placeholder for Saka. But the issue with that is, if you leave a lot of money in the bank, you're not maybe using the best, not making the best use of that cash in the weeks until you get Saka. And if you have Cole Palmer in your team as a placeholder, you have Cole Palmer in your team. So I mean, both of these are bad options.
So harsh, Siva.
Let's talk Cole Palmer, okay, for a sec, because I see Cole Palmer in a lot of drafts. I see some people talking about captaining Cole Palmer this week. Cole Palmer has blanked, hasn't scored in eight game weeks. He has 1 assist in that time frame. Okay, in that time, Jan Bednarek has scored twice. Okay,
Well,
what are we doing here?
I think after what he's done the past few weeks, or what he has not done the past few weeks, it's perfectly justifiable to sell him. But if you want to keep because of faith, I also somewhat think it's justifiable simply because of track record. And he can do it. Like eventually the form will turn. It's just how long are you gonna wait until that form turn? So what I'm saying is that I understand both decisions. I am not wildcarding, so Palmer will have to stay in my team. Like I'm not gonna waste a transfer out, especially with other people that I need to move. So he's in my team. So I'm in Team Hope, I guess, hoping that Palmer regains his form sooner rather than later. Nico Jackson is almost back apparently, and that should help as well because without Jackson, basically Chelsea were a headless chicken. So
Okay.
yeah, Hope, Team Hope. Come on, Palmer. Come on, Jackson. Do the business for us. Punish the sellers.
Hey, call it hope, call it blind faith. I mean, you've got a guy who had blanked against Leicester and Southampton. Respect. Um,
Oh. Yes, yes.
okay. I think, and let's this. It seemed like we were getting sidetracked, but we're not because it's still related to Arsenal. I think you have two options. Either if you're wildcarding this week, either you go Saka now, if you're very cautious, and to be honest, if you're going to do it this week, you could bench him because the Bournemouth guys play the Ipswich. They're all cheap. You could get some Newcastle. Jacob Murphy plays Brentford. That's a decent fixture, I guess. There are enough options probably if you're wildcarding this week, where you could have Saka in, but maybe bench him. Or, and this is where maybe I need to try and convince you a bit, why not just get Mikel Merino, real placeholder? Okay, you because you want to invest there. Didn't keep a straight face for 2 seconds. If you want to invest in Arsenal attack, why not get the Arsenal attacker? This is a man playing as Arsenal's number 9. He
That's true.
spent his international break scoring for Spain. Apparently, he's been doing a lot of weights. He's trying to bulk up because he thinks he's the number 9, and he is. I mean, he will be the number 9 until the end of the season. And Saka coming back. Saka spams crosses. Moreno is. I mean, the only thing he can do is head the ball. So this is match made in heaven, no?
I don't know, Siva. Midfield slots are valuable. I would not use one on Marino. I still don't have faith in him, but perhaps I'm not an Arsenal fan, so I'm still biased by the fact that he is not supposed to be a striker. What's he doing there?
But this is Arteta's wet dream, man. I mean, we bought Havertz as well. Havertz is not a striker. I mean, you can't convince me on my
He
life
was
that Havertz is a
close.
striker.
Like he was, he was playing up top, second striker, AM, like in and around that position. Mikel Merino is never. It's not even supposed to be in that half or that third of the field.
I mean, this is a manager who started his career playing with Fellaini, man. This is his dream. Like we have come full circle.
That's true.
He
That's
he
true.
just wants a tall guy to spam balls into. That's all he wants.
I feel personally that I'm okay to wait a week for Saka, especially because he's coming off a long injury, and it's not that the fixtures are exactly great either. Playing Fulham at home, Arsenal's at home, but Fulham tend to play better away, and they are a team I feel who has it in them for an upset and things like that. And then Everton, who again is a tough opponent. Then Brentford, who may be slightly easier because Brentford will be playing away. Then only you get Ipswich, and then you got blank. So to me, I'm okay to wait. Like there's no rush. If Saka starts this week and plays well, then yeah, I'll bring him next week. I don't need to be preemptive. And it's different with Mateta, I think, because he has the fixture. He has the Southampton fixture. And then the doubles that are coming up,
All right, fair. So you, even if you're on wildcard, you just go double Arsenal and then keep a spare slot for Saka.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Have a placeholder for the next two. And I know you were opposed towards like keeping funds aside, but I think if you got a good player that you're happy with 2 weeks and then have the funds to just do a straight transfer out to Saka later on, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that.
I'm not
And perhaps I'm only
opposed.
saying this because I have like 4 mil in the bank right now. Yeah.
I'm not, because honestly, with Haaland out and Palmer being Palmer, all of us have a lot of money. So I don't think that is such a big deal. Who are the other two Arsenal though? Do you go? For me, it's pretty simple. I guess it's Raya and Gabriel, or Saliba and Gabriel.
Yeah.
Timber was ill a few days ago, so he's a doubt. And I think that basically just rules out any other options. So it's a question of, do you want David Raya or somebody who can probably score a goal?
Yeah. That said though, We are looking at Arsenal page. I don't know. Are you on it now?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but I won't
Then
look at it. I mean, I don't have the Arsenal page. I have the general FPL page. You know.
who has more points, Raya, Gabriel, or Saliba?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, I would assume Gabriel because everybody seems to think Gabriel's the best. Okay, but the way you phrase that question, that means it's probably Saliba, Raya, and then Gabriel, right?
It is Raya, then Gabriel, then Saliba.
I've owned Raya. There's no way would I have said that. Okay.
Raya has 117 points. Gabriel's on 116. Saliba's on 114.
That's
So
so.
now, before I looked at this, my answer straight away was, who is the best three? Probably Gabriel and Saliba, right? Because Raya doesn't score. But yet, he has more points than both of them. So perhaps the way is actually Raya and Gabriel.
I mean, there's got to be a
And
reason for
you
that.
save like 0.7. So
Well, that's interesting because Gabriel only missed what is it, 2 starts, and then he's come off in 2 games. That's crazy. I would have never told you that, and I've owned Raya the whole season. Okay. I mean, the one nice thing about David Raya is he probably plays throughout the rest of the season. Like even when I mean, we're not going to win the title, so at some point we're going to start rotating. I think, just for the heck of it. Probably game week 38, we play Southampton. I just can't see why Raya won't play, whereas Saliba, Gabriel, maybe like a 2% risk of rotation.
yeah,
And
especially as Champions League rolls around and things like that.
yeah, but I mean, notwithstanding pass points, Sam. I mean, ultimately, corners, goals, Arsenal. I feel isn't the
I
more
guess
exciting option.
it's like this actually. It's quite simple, Siva. If you want someone who will guaranteed start every game, barring injury, it's Raya. And also the cheapest. If you want goals, it'll be Gabriel. But if you want bonus points, it's Saliba, who has 14 compared to Gabriel's 9 and Raya's 9. Raya doesn't get saves point. Raya barely gets bonus. Gabriel barely gets bonus even when he scores, but he scores often. And then Saliba is just a bonus monster. So take your pick. What do you like in a defender?
I think I would want the 2 centre backs, especially with Saka back, right? I think if I'm trying to think about it logically, or at least trying to get some excitement out of these games, and watching Arteta's terror ball and all that, at least like 2 tall guys might score a goal. I think is probably what I would want. And
Yeah.
by the way, about Saka, right? Just sort of rewinding back, there's a lot of talk about rotation. Arteta will ease him in, maybe in the first weeks, sure. There's a lot of talk about Champions League, like as if that's relevant. I'm sorry, we're getting knocked out before game week 33. Okay, that's the Madrid games finish before game week 33. We are getting knocked out, and then it's back to the league. By the time we play Ipswich, we'll already be out of the Champions League. So Arteta's not going to care. We're going to lose to Madrid, and then we're just going to focus on the league and get the most points we want. So I think Saka plays. I don't see why Arteta's going to suddenly start changing his personality. 5 seasons in and start rotating people? He has never done that. He's on record saying these guys can play 70 games, and if they get injured, it's nothing to do with rotation. So
Okay. So I kind of agree with you. I think if you have the money for it, then Gabriel Saliba is the way to go. But it is a really expensive combo to go Gabriel Saliba and Saka. That's a lot of money. So if you
I mean,
can, then the next best, I guess, would be sacrifice one of the defenders for Raya. Right?
fair enough. I'm okay to that. But just for me, I'm 90% having Saka in my team on wildcard. Most likely benching him this week, but I will have him because I mean, to me, I will want him anyway. I don't feel like making a transfer down the line. I don't need to see anything. I know what he's going to bring. I don't think 3 months out will have hurt him in any way. So that's just where I am. But I appreciate not everyone wants to take that risk. And if you're not on a chip, fair enough. Obviously, you wait. Let's talk Villa, and I think Villa is pretty important because they sort of determine your chip strategy. If you go heavy on Villa, logic suggests, especially if you've got all chips remaining, is that you're going to bench boost in 33 because that's when they double. and they also should double in 36. So you sort of go all in on Villa now itself. Whereas if you're bench boosting in 32, which sounds weird, but the reason for that is because one, the fixtures in 34 are kind of shit, and only 4 teams double. So you can only get 12 doublers anyway. So that means your bench boost is still going to be 3 single game weekers. So what's the difference bench boosting in 32 and 33? It's just one extra doubler, probably a keeper. So, and also, you're probably not going to have 12 doublers because that requires you to have triple City, triple Villa, triple Arsenal, and triple Palace. Do you, again, you probably don't want that. So that's probably not optimal anyway. So, a lot of stuff to take in. Basically, Villa, how much do you want to invest in Villa? Bearing in mind that they have a lot less depth, say, compared to Arsenal, or at least, how should I put it, more higher risk of rotation, right? There's no clear sort of favorite to start it every week. You have Asensio, Rashford, Marlon, Watkins, Rogers, Ramsey. Rogers is on 8 yellows, so he's 2 away from a suspension. He has to go through the next, I think, 3 games without picking up those 2 yellows. That they play Southampton in 32, but that's in between their 2 PSG games. So God knows who plays. It's a lot of stuff to take in, but basically, do you even want any Villa at all?
The stuff. I think I don't want any of the defenders. I'll get that out of the way because they 3 clean sheets entire season. No, and none of them are even really providing any attacking threat. Dean has the most assists with 5, but I don't want to go near him. I've learned my lesson from previous seasons.
Should we give context? Because I feel like if you've never had Dean, you may not appreciate just how much of a poison chalice Luka Dean is.
He just has never once came true for me or anyone else in the FPL community, I would say. Like whenever we bring him in, with a double, he gets benched randomly, doesn't play, or just does nothing. And for some reason, he has a penchant of getting taken off at 45 minutes, which continued into this season. Like game week 24 off played 45, game week 25 played 45, game week 22 played 45. Why? It's really scary for a defender if you keep getting taken off at 45 minutes. So don't go near any of them. And they're not keeping clean sheets. So just forget about Villa defenders. Go straight to the midfields and attack. In midfield, Rogers. I've never owned Rogers this entire season. So maybe I'm not qualified to speak. Maybe you should, Siva, because you had him for long periods. But in my opinion, he's still cheap, 5.5. And yes, the returns are coming in here and there, but with a double, yeah, it's worth taking the risk, I would say.
The 8 yellows puts me off, I think, because I can see him picking up a yellow in the next 2. Brighton and Forest both look like really tough games. I can see, although Rogers has the second most outfield minutes of any Villa player behind Tielemans.
I think he's nailed, right? He is nailed to start. He's the number 1 choice.
Yeah, he makes the team tick, which is surprising given that he's probably the youngest attacker, but he does make it tick. The issue is, if you were going to bench Rogers, who was never benched, if you were going to bench him, you bench him in 32 against Southampton, in between 2 games against PSG. I think that's what I would do, logically, to me.
Maybe, yeah.
So
but he doesn't even really get benched.
Exactly. I mean, my issue is with that suspension, right? If you were ever going to bench him, if you're Unai Emery, that's probably the time I would do it.
Like, tell him to get 2 yellows or whatever against Forest. So he can miss the Southampton game. Yeah, maybe.
So, and even if he's not bench against Southampton, I think limited minutes for me. And there's no reason for him to play 90 in between 2 of Villa's biggest fixtures of all time.
Maybe, yeah. Good point.
So sorry about that. Unscheduled interruption. It's late here. It's like 1 a.m. and we started talking about Luka Dean and why he's a cursed FPL asset, and then my kid woke up having a nightmare. So He's never even heard of Lucadine, you know. That's how strong Lucadine is. He just he pierces through the minds, you know.
Yeah.
Let's so
So
we're discussing.
let me finish up on Villa, right? I think
Yes,
the only asset which I think is actually a decent shout, but kind of under the radar, is Ollie Watkins, actually, who may not look like it because he has been doing honest work, but he has only blanked twice since game week 21, 3 times if you go all the way back to game week 19. So just consistent returns: 8 pointer, 8 pointer, 5, 8, 7, 5, 9. But I think anyone who went on him this past weeks will not be complaining. He's a bit expensive though at 8.9, but I think it's a decent option for the double.
fair. I did not actually cotton on to that. I guess because I haven't owned Watkins, just in the same way you haven't owned Rogers. I've not really owned Watkins all season. I didn't catch on to that. I mean, that's pretty decent. And like I say, I think by game week 33, Villa will also be out of the Champions League anyway. So the rotation worry for me is 32. 33, I think he should start both. So you're not keen on Marcus Rashford, Reborn, or Marco Asensio?
So I am keen on Marco Asensio, I think, but he just doesn't really seem to start for some reason, right?
Too many options.
Yeah. Looks good, scores. It seems like he's scoring, but too dangerous for me to bring him in FPL.
Yeah, even Rashford. I mean, it's a lot of hype because of the Preston game, but it's one game championship side, first 2 goals. I mean, yeah, it's a pure vibes pick with not many guarantee of minutes or so as well. I think too. I think the big issue with Villa is this is a really shit double. I mean, it's Newcastle at home and City away.
But I think, yes, tough, but Villa do have the pedigree, the caliber to cause an upset in either of these matches. It wouldn't be a total surprise.
Okay, fair. So I mean, let's get down to brass tacks, Sam, because you're probably going to end up using some chip in 33. So who are the Villa picks you're going with?
If I were to pick a Villa, I think probably only Watkins.
Interesting. Okay. So I guess that leaves you with Isaac to Watkins for you in 33 then, I suppose?
Still, yes, I think so. Isak probably the best striker in the entire league right now. No reason to take him out, if you have him. And if you don't, what have you been doing in FPL these past few weeks?
Yep. So that's my question to you, because in 33, right, assuming you have, say, a City attacker, you have Mateta, your third striker is probably going to be Isaac. So are you going to sell Isaac to get Watkins? Bear in mind, Isaac plays once against Villa in 33. And this kind of informs your chip strategy. You'll have to think about this at some point, because it's either you're selling Isaac in 33 because he only has a single game week, or you're playing him through, or you're benching him, or you're bench boosting with him, or you're free hitting in 33. You want to keep Isaac for 34.
That's true. I think he's playing Ipswich the next week, so come on, don't sell him. He's playing Ipswich in 34, so you have to keep him. It's either you bench boost, whatever it may be, but Isak has to be in the team.
Yeah. And the reason I asked you the question is to sort of illustrate why people are looking at bench boost 32, which I hate, by the way, because I want to triple Isaac. You and I still have triple captain. I want triple captain Isaac in 32. But it's for that reason, because I don't really want to bench boost in 33 with Isaac. Single game week Villa doesn't feel very sexy. In fact, and sort of sidebarring, because we're going to come into Newcastle now, and Newcastle really affects your chip strategy, because you will have 3 Newcastle players in your 33 team. Unless you have a spare wildcard at that point, fair play to you. But most us, mere mortals have already activated this chip. So you're going to have 3 Newcastle players in 33 who all play away at Villa. I mean, I don't think you can really bench boost that. So it's either you're using all your transfers to fix it, or you're using a different chip. You're just not bench boosting that week.
It's a good point. I would, yeah. I don't know. Everyone has their own chip strategy, right? So you're right.
No,
You gotta kind of think about it and go. I'm looking at it. I think I might bench boost in 36 instead. So my philosophy on bench boosting is that I don't want, unless you're gonna wildcard immediately after or something like that. But if you're not planning to do that, then you want some cheaper players that you can bench boost with, and then just leave them on the bench. The following weeks, and the teams that double in 33, there are not many cheap options. Whereas 36, you got a bit more options to play with. So that would be my strategy. But honestly, I have not thought about it 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
just off the top of my head.
I'm not going to say the bench boost 36. I'm not going to dismiss it out of hand. I have looked at it, right? Because you could end up with Bournemouth, City, Palace. Oh, sorry, no, Bournemouth, City, Villa, and Spurs doubling. I think that's the predicted double on the basis that Villa and City both win the semi-finals. Villa play Palace and City play Forest. So assuming likely outcomes, at least on paper, that's the 4 teams that double. Even then, you bench boost in 36, you still only have 4 teams doubling, most likely. So you still can't get 15 doublers. You can only get 12, which is the same in 33. I think the issue with doubling in 36 is you kind of need to wildcard in 35 to make it work. Because if you're wildcarding now or in 31, you need a lot of luck. For the 15 guys you pick, just look at Haaland, right? You want 15 guys to stay fit, stay alive for the next 7 weeks to make it to a 36 bench boost. I think that's going to take a lot of luck. I think for most people listening to this, I suspect already on wildcard or are wildcarding in 31. And so I think the choice is kind of you are either bench boosting in 32 or 33. And if you've got triple captain, it's probably going one or the other. To sort of try and make it easy for you to see the choices you have. Now, you can bench boost in 32 with Brighton players. You can see this fixture ticker we have here. Brighton play Leicester. So Brighton players are nice because they're cheap. Verbruggen, 4.5. Minta has been starting. He's 5 million. Van Heck, 4.5. Estupinan, 5 million. João Pedro, very cheap. You could bench boost with those guys. They're not so expensive to keep on the bench. Brighton, decent team. You're okay to hold them. If you're bench boosting in 33, West Ham players are pretty useful. Bowen, Wan-Bissaka, they play Southampton. That's an option. If you've got triple captain, that makes it harder. So you and I, a bit of a fix, and I really regret not using triple captain earlier now because Isaac makes sense in 32, but we've got the bench boost. Of course, you could probably just sack off the bench boost, don't let the harder chip to play drag you down and just deal with it later. The issue is triple captain 33. It's either a City player, and good luck figuring out who you get because Haaland may or may not be back, or Haaland comes back halfway through and Marmoush doesn't start both. Or you've got a triple captain Saka who's just back against Ipswich and Palace. So that's my difficulty, and I'm not going to say I have an answer, which I was hoping to have by the time we recorded today, but I'm leaning towards triple captain 32. Although I appreciate it's a weaker bench boost in 33 because the fixtures aren't great, but for me, triple captain is the kind of chip I don't really want to mess around with, and Isaac 2 home fixtures home just seems like that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's a really good option to pick. Triple captain 32 Isaac, United, Palace, both at home. Very scoreable fixtures. So yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. You see 2 good fixtures, just play your triple captain. Don't need to think so much.
Yes, it's what we should have done in Game Week 24, but mistakes were made. Yeah, I feel like the bench boost could go wrong in 32 as well. It just needs one. Brighton need to concede a goal, and then you're screwed. It's the kind of thing that I don't want to place too much emphasis on. I'll probably just aim for a decent 33. I might not focus too much on doublers because I'm sorry, Sam. I don't like the Villa double. I don't think Newcastle City is a good double, and I'd rather have more West Ham players against Southampton. To be honest with you,
Fair.
Mm.
Perfectly fair, Siva.
Yeah. Also, just and this is a lot of chip heavy talk. Everyone's gonna have a headache at the end of this, but just to remind you that we started at the start of this episode. I said that the people who double in 36 don't play in 37, and so when you get to 37, if you've gone all in on the 36 doublers, triple City, triple Bournemouth, triple Villa, you have nobody left for 37.
You can wildcard in 37 or free hit, depending on your strategy. But yeah, it is something to think about. So
Yeah, so how aggressively you go, actually, every transfer you make from now until the end of the season affects your entire. You can't think so short term. It's
that's what
and
you
so
say, Siva. But you just know someone who totally have zero foresight, zero planning would just make whatever they think is best on a week by week basis and outscore all of us with our spreadsheets and all that.
no doubt, right? I mean, the person who's leading right now is, I think, a 60-year-old woman who has never opened up any, FPL review or any model, and she's doing quite well. What I would say is this: don't blindly chase doubles. I think that is we always do this. Two fixtures are better than one. Are they really? Like some of these are fairly bad doubles. I've not picked a Villa player since I don't know when, like since I sold Rogers like 3 months ago, and I think there was a reason for that. So yeah, I'm just wary about steaming into these doubles. Newcastle, top three Newcastle assets are
Isak number 1.
easy.
Then it gets hard.
That's why you're here.
Paul is supposed to be number 2, but he got injured and he won't be back.
He ain't coming back.
Yeah, so then who do you pick? Tempted to go Burn, just vibes. His X vibes are massive right now after the trophy win.
8 yellows.
Yeah, 8 yellows. Livramento has more attacking potential, I guess. That's it. He hasn't made any assists this season. So not exactly keen on it. I don't know. There are not many options, honestly.
Shar, Trippier.
Yeah, it could be Trippier. It could be Shaw. Trippier getting benched in there is getting old.
He's only played 90
Shah,
once this whole Premier League season.
Shaw tends to pop in with odd goals here and there, but he's also really expensive. Like his price reflects that at 5.4. So just gotta pick one, I think. I will go Burn unless you're worried about the yellow cards, then Livra.
Let's talk midfield. I think that's more interesting because I think your third. Look, I'm sorry, Sam. You need to have triple Newcastle. This is a good double. This is as good a double as we'll get for a while. United, easy game. Palace, maybe not, but it's at home. Jacob Murphy has
Jacob
started
Murphy?
every game since game week 14.
Jacob Murphy is really good, but not really consistently returning. Like here and there, like 2 blanks, and then 1 assist, 2 blanks, then 1 goal, 1 assist. It's good for his price because it's only 5, So if you do need a cheap player, then it's as good as it gets at 5.0, I think. Yeah, that's it, basically. Jacob Murphy is the only option I really see. I don't like Barnes, I don't like Bruno G, although you just know that Bruno G, the DM, will outscore all the other midfielders.
I mean, he's got more points, I think, than all of them except for
Yeah,
Gordon. And
that's
Gordon's
true.
injured plus suspended, so not an option.
Yeah. Other than them, I think that's it.
So brass tacks. I mean, do you go double defense or do you go Murphy?
I'll go Murphy, I think. He's one of those useful players, cheap bench boost, and then after that leave him on your bench kind of player.
Yeah, 5 million midfielder is the kind of player like I will not lose sleep if he rots on the bench for the rest of the season. So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Just to wrap up before we get into captaincy and maybe 1 or 2 wildcard drafts, let's talk Bournemouth for a bit because Bournemouth didn't really pop up in this sort of chat about doubles because they couldn't hold on against City, so they lost their double. The best case is they have a double in 36. That being said, to me, these Bournemouth fixtures feel like they're really decent. Their league form, on the other hand, is quite bad, I must say. Like, they've not been winning games, and their Champions League run has derailed. I mean, they'd be lucky if they get into Europe at all. But even so, I mean, if you're wildcarding this week, Sam, do you not need to have at least double Bournemouth?
Yeah, I guess they have good fixtures. And you know what? Their turn in form basically coincided with their fixtures becoming really good. That's when all of us are like, oh, we need to get them in. Then next thing you know, they're winless in the past four. But still good fixtures ahead. Ipswich, particularly this week at home. So I have Semenyo. I do not like having Semenyo at all.
Oh,
Chef went
9 yellows.
for I should went for Clivet. Um, for Justin, who seems to be the best midfield pick. So from midfield, I'll go with Justin. Attack, Evil Nielsen didn't return last week, but played pretty well, and then he scored against City in the FA Cup. So yeah, I'll go with Evil Nielsen at forward. At defense, I went Dean Huijsen, but has not really done anything for me since I brought him in.
Made his
Kirkes
Spanish
has to be.
debut. If you
Oh yeah, he did. And he played well. I mean, he's a good player, young, but Bournemouth, I mean, their form derailed. Kirkes, though, 3 assists in the past 3 weeks, although because they don't keep clean sheets, he has 4 points, basically. So despite keeping a lot of clean sheets, he's not doing that well either. I mean, despite assisting, keeping a lot of assists, giving out a lot of assists. Sorry, it's really late, Siva. Words are not coming out properly.
it is, I should say, it's almost 2 a.m. where we are. That's the dedication we have. But
Yeah.
Milos Kirkes suspended in the cup, so he couldn't play against City, so he's rested. And again, would you not rather have Milos Kirkes bombing down the wing in your team as opposed to having, say, Ezri Konsa, Villa defender, just because they have one double in 33?
Yes, I agree, but he is also pretty expensive at 5.2. So I would say it's kind of like it's a luxury transfer, I think. If you have the extra money, then yeah, go Kirkes. He's the best Bournemouth player. But they
End of the
don't
season, man,
double.
you want to flex, and they should double in 36. That's why I
Yeah. I was
without
gonna
that,
say they don't double all the way until 36.
yeah.
So it really depends on your strategy. Like you might want to put the money in some to another player who doubles earlier and then move on to Kirkes before 36 comes or something like that. In a vacuum, good player, right?
Yeah, I just feel like there's a 15-pointer right in front of you against Ipswich, and I think sometimes we can just get sidetracked by thinking too far ahead. Both Kirkes will definitely start. Evan Nelson came off early against City, should start. If anything, Clivett's the one I'm a little more worried about because Clivett played the full 90, but
Should start still. It's
should start. Okay, let's wrap up because this is I have no idea how long we've actually gone, but it's been long.
Yeah.
Wildcard draft, I mean, this could change 101 times, okay, but I'll just read it out. It gives you a flavor of what I've experimented with. Martinez and Raya, that's I don't think I'll stick with that just because it's too expensive, right? It just feels wrong. But Konsa, Gabriel, Trippier, Gavadio, Livramento, Saka, Eze, Salah, Clivert, Sar, Mateta, Isaac, Marmoush. Now I have a shit ton of team value. Okay, so I
You
you may
do
not be able
actually,
to.
Siva. You
Yeah,
really have a lot of money. It's really out for those of you who don't know.
I think it's like 103 or something stupidly high.
Oh no, 103 is decent at this level, Siva. You are at. No, I'm gonna bring it up right now. Give us a few seconds.
It's more.
Yeah, Siva is 105.1 mil. For reference, everyone who don't know, I'm at 102.8. You have a whole 3 mil more than me to spend, Siva. You know how much is 3 million? 3 million is a lot.
Suddenly feels like this draft is probably not of much use to people, but let me just flex anyway.
Go ahead. Proceed.
Yeah. So I mean, okay. I think easy way of if you want to afford something like this is you cut down Trippier to burn. You get a cheaper keeper, get Areola. Maybe you don't start with Saka, or instead of Eze, maybe get another 5 million midfielder. Jacob Murphy. Yeah, you can get something like this. And you probably don't want my Villa players anyway, so you don't need Emi Martinez. You'll see you'll see my final draft before the deadline. Let's talk captaincy, Sam. I think that's kind of interesting this week because, I mean, obviously the answer is you just captain the Egyptian attacker playing
Has to
the
be.
opponent in blue, but which Egyptian attacker is it?
Just because he disappeared for 1 week. Like everyone is now thinking you can captain other players and stuff like that.
You gotta be tempted,
Yeah.
no?
I'm tempted, right? Because
Old
like.
Sam would do this.
Well, I mean, I'm not captaining Salah. I think. I may experiment with just not captaining him for the rest of the season.
We've reached that stage of the season, have we?
Yeah, but earlier on I was talking about bonus points. I was like, Saliba. If you want bonus points, get Saliba. What defender? Saliba has 14 bonus points. You want to guess how many bonus points Salah has?
It's gonna be something stupid like 20.
20. Come on, man.
Wait, more?
Salah has 51 bonus points.
It's a scam, man. It's a scam.
51 just from bonus. Man.
Have you seen? I think the Athletic. I mean, this is chasing for clickbait, but they tried to put out this video where they said Salah's not having that great a season, and they sort of showed he hasn't scored that many game-changing goals because all his goals are sort of like stat pad goals, and then so many pen goals, and the hate they got, so much abuse. They started going into like. So John McKenzie is the journalist for the Athletic. They started going back to his old tweets from like 2015, where he's a teenager saying Salah sucks. He's not Messi.
Wow.
He had to post like this big apology. 10 years ago, I said some things about Salah. I've disowned them. I was very silly. And then he had to delete those tweets. And fandom, man.
Do you want to guess who has the second most bonus points?
Oh, second most bonus points. Who else is scamming this game?
It's
It's
all
gotta
the
be
way down at 37, by the way. So
Alex is
Salah,
up.
number 1, 51. Second, Chris Wood, 37.
I mean, we've got to say our goodbyes to Chris Wood. Obviously, he's gone from my team this week, but
Isak's not even third, by the way.
crazy.
Third is someone who apparently gets a lot of bonus points for punching people and stuff.
Mattis Cunha.
Yeah, he's third at 33.
Okay, but Sam, you're dodging because my captain's Marmoush. I
Really?
think.
No, you will not. You will not. You're gonna captain Salah. I know you will, Siva.
Oh,
It
but
is the smart thing to do.
I really want to captain Marmoush, though. I'm going to
I know
try.
you want to, Siva. I know you want to, but you won't.
Bus captaincies on Marmoush. I'm going to try and prevent myself, or at least forget about the deadline. But who are you captaining, Sam? Because that's what people really want to know.
I'm very tempted by Eval Nielsen
Hmm.
at home against Ipswich. So that'll be my like hipster. I don't want to captain Salah pick.
Don't mind it. Don't mind it at all. Ipswich and Leicester are two of the worst teams I've seen. I mean, all these three teams, Southampton included, they all suck. Bournemouth at home need a win, desperate for a win. Have to win at some point. I like it.
Yeah. Maybe. Isak is an option as well at home against Brentford. Now less attractive as the others, but Isak is still Isak. Newcastle is still Newcastle at home.
They gotta be hungover, man. Did you see? Like they had like 300,000 people on the streets. I mean, there's no way they're gonna be fit to play.
Maybe. Or their morale will be at an all-time high.
What we really should have done is get a fasting expert on for this week because like Salah and Marmoush have just started eating again. So does that mean they are like
Oh,
even better or they are slow because sluggish? Just had my first meal. I don't know. It's a on
true.
on that note, we should finish the episode by saying Eid Mubarak and happy Eid al-Fitr to all those who celebrate.
Yeah. May your arrows be green.
Yeah, and hopefully my Egyptian captain gives me my green arrow. But in the meantime, we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.